PowerPoint, family, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Can you move your legs? It looks funny in the video. Okay, so my name is Kelsey Luton, and I'll be talking about the different learning styles today. To start off, I'm going to ask you 3 different questions. Each one pertains to a certain learning style, so if you could raise your hand on the one that pertains to you. Do you take numerous detailed notes? 1. Are your clothes not coordinated? 2. What about, do you talk with your hands and use gestures? 3. The reason I asked you these questions is because each one pertains to a certain learning style. The 3 learning styles are visual, auditory, and kinesthetic. We use these 3 different senses to process information. Some people use one over the other, or maybe even 2 over the other. Today's discussion will help you to determine which one of these is more your learning style, and I'll also be giving study tips to help you become a better student. So keep in mind the questions I asked you earlier, because throughout the presentation it will determine which kind of learner you are. So the first one, we have a visual learner. These learners learn with ideas of concepts, data, and other information that are associated with images and techniques. So they like to do diagrams, graphs, charts, anything that's really organized. They're usually the organized person in the group of learners. And they also have a lot of different traits than the other 2 learners do. First one is they sit in the front of the class. They also like to take numerous detailed notes, and they like to have visual aid while learning. So with these traits, you become a better student by studying by yourself, using color coordination. So get different color pens, highlighters, draw pictures, and just review it like that, and it'll help you. Usually the visual learner is the one who highlights their whole book instead of just sentences. Another way that they can be a better studier is probably by doing flashcards with limited information. That helps them learn better. Also, if the flashcards are color coordinated to certain objectives in their studying. Also, a tip for them to review and test would be to rewrite their review over and over again in different colors. That helps them remember it faster. If this is not for you, and you do not like diagrams or color coordinating, and reading or highlighting is not your thing, then an auditory learner may be. Auditory learners learn by listening or talking to others. You're an auditory learner if you learn by listening to people tell you what to do instead of you actually reading written instructions. For example, if you wanted to make cookies, instead of looking it up in a cookbook and reading it off, you'd rather have your mom stand right next to you and tell you exactly what to do. So when I asked those 3 questions earlier, and if you raised your hand for not coordinated clothing, you are an auditory learner. Other traits include talk to themselves when they're bored, acquire knowledge by reading out loud, and sit where they can hear effectively. The best way for an auditory learner to study would be to study in groups and quiz each other one by one, ask questions, give out answers. Also, another way for them to study if they were by themselves would be to make up songs or rhymes, or even to do acronyms. That's the best way for auditory learners to learn. But if you don't like making diagrams or talking to yourself out loud, you're probably a kinesthetic learner. Kinesthetic learners are also known as tactile learners. They learn by doing. They're the ones who rather be lecturing and doing the demonstration instead of watching it. So this presentation is probably not grabbing your attention because I've only used visual and auditory learning techniques. Some traits of kinesthetic learners are they speak with their hands and gestures, find reasons to move when bored, and enjoy tasks that involve manipulating materials. So you rather do outdoor activities, you're the athlete, you're everything that involves moving around. So the best way for you to study is to play games. in high school we played games like Jeopardy and stuff. It helps you memorize better because it's a fun way of learning. Another way is to do like a memory game. Memory games are very popular for kinesthetic learners. Also, if you want to memorize like a process for kinesthetic learners, flashcards that each flashcard has a different process on it helps you memorize it and you'll be more effective. And a hint for you science majors, if you stay longer in labs and you do the procedure over and over again, you're probably a kinesthetic learner because that's the best way for them to learn. So now that I've explained the different styles of learning, I have one last question for you. What kind of learner are you? Are you a visual, auditory, or kinesthetic? If you're still indecisive, you can go to www.edutopia.org and take a 20-question test. And at the end, it will tell you what kind of auditory learner, and you can use that to help you study, help you figure out where maybe you should sit in the classroom, how you should prepare for a test, and just use it in your everyday classroom routine. So any questions or comments? Nope? Okay, thank you.
That was a little bit better.